Yo,
What's up? We're here live again.
we
Finding
are.
the time to do it. We're doing it.
That's right, and
Doing it and doing it and doing it well.
and we got a special guest on today.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
We do.
her name is Danny. I found her on Instagram randomly, just looking around, and she is a Healy user. And to
I
be
think she's
honest with
more
you,
than that.
yeah, I mean, she
Can't wait
travels
to.
around. Like, I don't know. What do
Yeah,
you think?
we'll let her tell us who she is.
Yeah. But she'll be on in a little bit.
Yeah.
But until then,
You get us, bozos. Just talking about nothing. Just
it's
kidding.
always something. We're talking about stuff. We're talking about stuff.
We do talk about stuff.
We
I
talk
think
about a
it
lot of stuff.
I think it's fun stuff. Um
So what programs have you been running lately?
Lots of regeneration because I've been back to the gym.
Hmm.
Um and yoga again. So regeneration always helps me with my body soreness and anything fitness wise.
There's three regenerations. Right.
Yeah, you're right. The regeneration in the fitness program is the one I'm speaking to.
Okay. What are the other ones? The one, two, and three.
The one, two, and three are in the bioenergetic revitalization program set, which is different to the fitness set. So they're two different sets. But that's more to anti-aging and wellness and vitality.
Hmm.
Um, for me, I've used all three of those as well, and I don't get the same feeling as I do for regeneration
Hmm.
and in the fitness app. And that to me is just that's my app, truly.
Yeah.
I don't like to be sore, but I do like to be physical and work out. And I think the balance in that program is nice.
I did find another area. I'm trying to figure out where it was. It might have been in the Resonance app, um, where it gives a description of every single program.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew this already.
Yes.
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
There's a lot of updates.
it's in the resonance area, and
Hmm.
then you go to settings, and then manual, I believe.
And it's right there. Yeah.
Hold on, is it manual? No,
I'm looking too.
it's not manual. It's crap. I don't have my Healy hooked up either,
Way to
so
go, Joe.
I don't even know why I
Way
brought
to
this up.
go.
I don't even know why I brought this up.
I think
Uh,
today we'll go back to that. We'll go back to what you're talking about because I'm actually running a program right now, so I can't go in and look to where you were just talking about. Can't go.
oh yeah, when you're running a program.
So there's that.
All right. So, anyways, there is a section where it does give you all the descriptions of everything. We're fucking up because we don't have it on hand here right now, but it is in your. It's in the Resonance app, or is in
It's in the
the other.
Resonance app. Yeah.
It is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in the settings, and then it's either the guide or the manual. You select, and then it gives you all the descriptions. Because
Right.
I thought that was funny that they didn't do that. They didn't like it doesn't have it right on the app, right on the program, like give you a description. It does give you some of the programs have a description in the what's it called the analysis app. What's it called? The advisor, Healy Advisor. Um, but some of them don't have descriptions. It's
Yeah. I
interesting.
have a pretty cool manual too that Peter gave me. That some, I think Taryn and her group made. So it's a really cool manual that has a lot of different descriptions of Healy. I think it's a little more in depth than the actual Healy manual, which is nice. We could drop that in the link. It's really nice version of the manual in program descriptions and just a different perspective on how to use them and how to hook them up and all of that.
Oh, okay. Do you
Yeah.
have that link now?
I can. Yeah, I mean, I can send it to you right now. Do you want me to?
Yeah, send it over. We'll put it up.
Just in case.
Oh, there she is.
Should I text it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Danny's here now. She's gonna save us because we're fucking running out of shit to talk about.
You're the one that brought up something you weren't even prepared for. Embarrassing.
I was hoping that you knew what was up.
You can't always put me on the spot like that, you know. I'm very sensitive.
Thought you were a Healy expert.
I am definitely not a Healy expert. I use it every day, but I'm not an expert. Peter's an expert.
Yeah, we gotta get Peter back on. Because I wasn't even there for that one. I would have asked him like 10,000 questions. What are you like typing the code out?
Well, I have it saved as a file on my phone.
Oh, fuck it. Okay, forget it.
You know, this is what happens when you don't prepare, Joe. This is what happens.
It's okay. All right, so
guess what? I figured out how to do it anyway.
He's like determined. It's like
because I'm an iPhone expert.
This guy starts something. Can't stop him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell our audience out there of one that we've got a manual and then not deliver.
Are you getting that private chat, or is that going to nowhere?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Got it. Yep.
Oh yeah. Does that go to everybody? Should. All right, she's there. Danny, don't go anywhere. I see you. Okay. Let's bring on Danny. Once again, she's a Healy enthusiast, just like us, and we're just getting to know her. I haven't even talked to her at all. Me and David don't know anything about her, so let's get to know her and welcome her to the Frequency Project.
I can't wait.
Hey, Danny, how's it going?
Hey, Danny.
Really good, and you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Fantastic. Nice to finally meet you too.
Oh, you got a cool accent.
About it.
You're so American, Joe.
Where are you from?
It's a long story and different accents mixed. I am Mexican. My family is Mexican. I was born in Mexico, which is why I have the American accent. That's the accent we get there. But I've lived in Australia and New Zealand and Bali. So my accent is all mixed up.
Oh, wow. David lived in Australia for a few years.
Danny, I am also half Mexican. And my wife and I have lived in Australia the last 8 years. And have traveled to New Zealand by cruise ships and stuff. We used to be performers on cruise ships.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool. Well, we have so many things in common already.
I know. We're kindred spirits.
We definitely are, I'm sure.
So Danny, we're just trying to so we were looking through your Instagram and we're like, man, this girl is living the life, promoting the Healy, traveling all over the place. How did you, first off, what do you do for a living? And, where are you going all the time?
That's for some reason, for a few years or months, I'm gonna say that question, like what do you do for a living, used to trigger me, because I would always reply back, I breathe air. Like, what do you mean what I do for a living? For a living, I eat healthy food and I breathe and I love, and then I would reply back, do you mean what do I do for money? And people would be like so upset, and I was just a pain in the ass, to be honest. I don't know why it triggered me and why I did that.
Good point, though.
Yeah, and exactly that's what I want to go. It's like, it was a fine line for a few years I was making money out of whatever I could, just to live by and just to survive. So I didn't have an answer, and a specific answer. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm a dentist, because I didn't. I was just like, sometimes I do social media managing, and then sometimes I do, I'm a content creator as well. So sometimes I sell videos, and we have a film production company. So sometimes I sell like higher end videos. And it was all just I think that was why it was triggering me, because I didn't have one identity of what I do for money. But nowadays, that line, it's like blurring into how I get my money and what I do for fun and for living. And it is Healy nowadays. It's sharing the Healy. So yes, I get money from that, but I do that because I love it and I love sharing it. So now I see where the question, what do you do for a living, comes from. I do that for a living because it lights me up. It fills me with life. But I also get money from that. So it doesn't trigger me anymore, because now I know the meaning of that question. And I wish
Right.
that it was the same for everyone. Whether you're an accountant or a dentist or whatever, I hope that whatever you're doing lights you up and fills you with life.
It's like
Oh
what we're all
man,
striving for, right? We're all striving to combine the two, where you can just do what you love but make money doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, right.
And
I think more.
so yeah,
uh,
having Healy as an income stream gives me freedom, like location freedom. So I'm able to travel the world. And aside of Healy, right now my main income, like most of my money, is coming from Healy. But aside of that, my partner is a videographer, so we have a film production company that allows us to travel a lot, or requires us to travel a lot, and we love traveling. So that's why I'm always here and there, and you see me one
And
doing one continent and the next day I'm on the other side of the world.
that's how you're getting those awesome videos from he's your husband or boyfriend?
He's my fiance, soon to be husband.
Fiance. Oh,
Yes.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Um, well, that's a great combination then. I
Yeah.
mean, you got the instant cameraman. You're selling Heelys, which is like helping the world, and then you get to travel. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. And it really has become so easy. I remember when I joined Healy for the first time, and it's a really I'm a very privileged person within Healy, because I'm right below Taryn. I know Taryn, and I
oh,
asked her to, hey, I want to do whatever you're doing, so please allow me to join you. And she's my mentor. I've just got off a call with her, and Peter was there, and Doc Steve was there, and Leah was there, and everyone was there. It was a team call. And I was overwhelmed at the beginning. Like, oh, I used to be that person who thought, or I used to think that MLM and like all these network businesses are, oh, it's just a scam, and the last one is always crude, and that was me before. So when I decided to give this a try, I decided to give it because of what Healy does. I wanted to have the product, and I wanted to share the product, but I wasn't really. I felt overwhelmed about the business model, because I didn't believe in it, and because I said, like, no, sales is not for me. How am I, like, I don't want to go knocking on people's doors and being like, hey, look at this.
right.
But then mixing these two sides of my life that I love the most, which is Healy and all its benefits, but also traveling and creating content, I've just been able to share so genuinely and so easily and smoothly, just like literally walking on a beach. I do have to say that beautiful beach helps a lot with the engagement and the engagement on Instagram. I mean, the engagement rate. But just walking on the beach, wearing my Healy and saying something, and that video will be shared and saved. And it's so easy to, from that video, get questions about, hey, what are you wearing? And what is it that you've been sharing? And I felt overwhelmed in the beginning, like, how am I even going to sell? And now I realize that you just use your device and talk about your device and share genuinely, from an energy of helping others, and the sales or the prospects or the team members will come. It's Healy is so nice in that way.
That's.
Right.
I think that's what Joe and I. So, Joe and I have been friends for a really long time. He's one of my best friends, and probably my best friend. And we always have
Gotta be.
really deep conversations all the time. And so for us, the Healy kind of turned into also a jump off point for us to just an excuse to talk about all this stuff we're interested in, like energy and healing and self-help and all of these things that I think the world so badly needs right now. And to not turn away from the pharmaceutical companies, but maybe look more strongly at all the alternatives that are out there. And Healy is such a powerful tool that I've been using every day since I've had it. And you just mentioned Peter. I know Peter because I saw him use the Healy on the plane, and literally that was it for me. Like, we did a Healy treatment on the plane, my wife and I, and then we bought it the next day. Well, as soon as we could, actually, because it wasn't live until like 2 months later, actually, in the US. So that's a whole nother story, because Healy was just launching during COVID, and there was supposed to be a US tour, and then it got delayed. But I mean, COVID kind of stopped the world for everybody. But yeah, all that being said, now Joe and I have started this podcast we're just experimenting and wanting to talk to people like yourself and just spark genuine, authentic conversation. Because I think one of the biggest things about Healy for me is that almost everybody I've met in the community that is using it, it's helped their life in some way, shape, or form in such a positive, amazing, beautiful way that I don't know, like, how can we not want to talk about it, right?
Right.
Right. It's impossible not to share. And just as you said that you met Healy like on a plane because someone was wearing it and it sparked your curiosity, that's that's just how easy it is to share. I mean, I wear my Healy to go to the market to buy fruits, and people will be asking about it, and then that's how you connect with all these people. I see it kind of like having a puppy and going out to the park, and people will be like, oh, that's so cute, and then you meet a girl and then you're dating. It's same with Healy. Like, you go out with your Healy, and people that are interested in this, you'll attract them, and they'll spark this will spark the conversation, and then you're growing your tribe, your community, your friends. So you will start making meaningful connections with people that are into the same things as you.
Is that so, like, face to face, like when people ask you questions, you run into people, is that where the majority of like the sales come in, or are you doing, or are your videos and all this other stuff really bringing people in?
Most of the sales are coming in from social media,
Really?
but just regular sales, not enrollments into the team.
Okay.
Whereas in live person, I mean, in person meetings, especially with people that already know you and trust you because they're friends or family, those have been the team builders. The people that I've enrolled in my team and that are helping me grow. Eventually, my tribe online, my following, the more that I show up there more authentically, and the more that I speak over there, the more the genuine connection will be, and the more that they will trust me and eventually be like, oh, I want to work with her, not only buy from her, but work with her. And I have enrolled a few people from social media, but it's mostly sales, just like people that want to get it and have it for themselves, but not necessarily sell it or share it with anyone else.
And I'm sorry if you already said this, but how long have you been? When was the first time you learned about the Healy?
Not so long. It's a funny story because I was living in New Zealand before COVID, so I can't exactly remember the date, but it must have been like 2019. I was growing my following in New Zealand, and I had people messaging me about it. Well, I had people messaging me about all types of MLM business back then. Something called Airborne, and something I think it was like makeup and things like that. And as I said, I was just like, no, 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 that's a scam. I don't want to hear about it. And I was just saying no to everyone. And I got a message from Taryn. Back then, I didn't know who she was, and I myself wasn't into this yet. I wasn't into this personal development world. I wasn't that much into health. I was just like your random muggle, didn't care about anything. And
You got a message from her, like, out of the blue, like, or you knew her as a friend?
Instagram, because I was getting noticed in social media in New Zealand, So I think maybe she saw my social media. She said it was about travel, and she said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to. She can be a team builder. I'm going to invite her." And I think I didn't even reply. I just left her there, just like all the other messages about network marketing. I was like, "No, that's not for me. I just want to travel." that was me back then. And then in 2019, well, actually 2020, February 2020, we went on holiday to Bali. Then the world crashed. New Zealand closed. No one in or out, so we couldn't come back to New Zealand. And we have been living in Bali. It's been 3 years now, I think, ever since. And when I was in Bali 2 years later, it was 2022 or 2021. I think it was 2022. It must have been like around August 2022. I was in a hair salon, and a friend of mine, she's the personal assistant of Taryn. And I didn't know that. I didn't know who Taryn was or anything. I didn't know about Healy, but she was talking about her boss. And she said, and I asked, what does your boss do? She said, oh, she works at a company that they have this small device that works with frequencies and helps you heal. And by then I was already into into frequencies, into healing, into personal development, like manifestation, everything. And she was trying to tell me about Taryn, and I was just like, a device that does what? Oh, it heals with frequencies. But anyway, she has a site in Italy. And I'm like, no, wait. What did you say about the device? I just wanted to hear about the device, and she just wanted to tell me about Taryn. And I was like, okay. She told me about Taryn, and I got home and did some research about Healy. And to be honest, I couldn't find a lot of information. My partner is more tech savvy than I am, so he helped me, and we found like a few YouTube videos. I didn't even find the official website. I couldn't find much. So I texted my friend back and said, I don't know what Healy is, but I need one. So can you get me in touch with Taryn? And she said like, no, well, it's not so easy. Taryn is a busy person, I can't just give you her number, but let me tell her that you're interested. And she messaged her and said, hey, this girl, and sent my Instagram handle, is interested in Healy and wants to get one and wants to be in your team. Are you open? Taryn is not enrolling people anymore. She's helping her team build a larger team. So she's really selective with who she picks for her team, I guess. And I felt so proud and so grateful that she said yes to me and wanted to have me on her team. So a few days later, my friend messaged me back and said, hey, Taryn's going to message you, and she's going to enroll you. You can get your Healy, and then you can start working together. But then, as I said, I was traveling around the world. This messaging back and forth with Donna was in August, September. But then September, October, November, I was traveling like literally 2 weeks or maybe a month in each destination. And I was like Thailand, Dubai, UK, Turkey. And then I was coming back to Mexico to spend Christmas with my family. So I sent my device to the US because Mexico wasn't open yet, and because I was going to be traveling around, so I didn't know where to send my device. That was, I think, in September. I sent my device to the US, and I actually didn't get my hands on it until January. Oh, no, I think it was November. Yeah, it was before Christmas. I didn't get my hands on it until November. So meanwhile, I was just like sharing all the theory and sharing what Healy is, but without being able to show people, like, I have mine, I use mine. So I felt kind of like an imposter, like, how am I sharing all this if I'm not using it? And of course, Taryn was doing like remote sessions for me, but I wanted to have it, I wanted to have it on me and be able to show it. So that was just last year. I mean, last November, I got mine. And even before I got mine, I had already sold a few, like friends and family. My mom got hers and got one for my brother as well. And then in November, we got them all and brought them home. I was staying with my parents because I was there visiting for Christmas. So November, December, I was all day plugged into my Healy, all day connected, experimenting, finally getting to feel what I was sharing with the world, finally being like, okay, so is this real? And I was sharing it. And I remember the first time I ever used it, I went straight into the Purple Emotional Wellness programs, and I used the Feel Good program. I didn't know
what that all the time.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And I was like, okay, feel good. Sounds good. I'm going to feel good. And I plugged it, and my partner and I, we went to the market to buy fruits and veggies. And I remember thinking, because I couldn't feel the frequencies back then. I don't know if you remember the Pink Dot app before. For some reason, I just couldn't feel them. I hadn't changed my frequency to the higher level. And I wasn't drinking enough water. I just couldn't feel any frequencies at all, which is totally fine because a lot of people don't ever feel them, but it's still working. And we went to the market, and I was in the car with my partner, and I said, "No, I think this is a placebo because I don't feel anything. It just doesn't work, and I feel disappointed that I invested in this, but that's okay." And I just gave it a try, and I had the Feel Good System program on me. And the moment that we were shopping in the market, I started crying because the tomatoes were so beautiful. And I was crying out of joy because I can't believe these tomatoes are so beautiful. And I even called my partner, because he was in another stand, and said, come, can you please take a photo of these tomatoes? They're so beautiful. It was almost as if I was high, you know? And he looked at me like, what's wrong with you? And he said, I think it does work. And I just then I remember that I had plugged myself into the Feel Good, and I was feeling really good. I was seeing the beauty in everything, beauty in tomatoes. So I was like, no, yeah, it does work.
That's funny that you mentioned that you felt like you were high. Me and David actually say that all the time. Like, it's like we're not high. We're just having these conversations and just like vibing off each other at like this other level, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this buzz that you feel in your body, and it's just like, it's just there. It's like a low level buzz, and then the more you do it, the more, like we talked about this, because I've had it 2 years longer than Joe, and when he first got it, he wasn't really feeling the frequencies either. And I think my wife and I have been performers all our life, and we're singers, so we're very sensitive to vibration, I think, in general. So I think for us, it was like an instant we could feel it. We could feel what's happening in our body just because we're really already very aware of our body, because we use our bodies for a living. And I think it just took you a while to kind of get used to the programs, right, Joe, before you started actually feeling it. And then we had that podcast about that the Healy is almost like this. It has an ability to make you aware of your inherent energy. And just by it making you aware of your energy, you then start to tap into the ability to feel the subtle energy changes that are around you and that are happening in your body, right?
Yeah. You're very hypersensitive to your own energies once you start running this Healy after like a few months, you know. I had another question real quick. So you mentioned that you and Taryn were doing sessions, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So what did these sessions comprised of?
I think she was running. I don't think she scanned me remotely. It was only running programs on me remotely. I think she was
she was
being
doing
the
the remote.
vehicle.
Okay.
Yes. And I was feeling overwhelmed because I had the pressure. You know, you're fast start or something like that. It's like the first 2 or 3 months when you're enrolled, and for the first 2 or 3 months, I didn't have my Healy. So I was feeling really overwhelmed because I wanted to sell a lot. I wanted to. Taryn said yes to me because she had hope in me. You know, she said like she's going to be a huge team member, and I wasn't selling anything because I didn't have my Healy with me. So I felt overwhelmed, and I told her like, look, I'm feeling really stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling this pressure of having to sell. Of something that I haven't even tried, and I trust the product. I know I think I know it's great. I haven't used it, but I believe in it. But I'm feeling overwhelmed. And she said like, okay, we're gonna do some programs on you. To be honest, I don't exactly remember which ones she did. I know she did Coherence, which I'm running right now. Coherence is one of my favorite ones.
Me
We
too.
run that all the time.
Yeah. The
David got
best.
me
It's the
hooked on
best.
that one.
I'm not a public speaker, so especially if I'm going to be talking, speaking publicly, and especially if it's in a language that is not my language, I need to be running Coherence. Mine is.
Wait a minute. English isn't your first language?
Oh no,
Oh
no!
my God.
Spanish is my first language.
No, you're doing great. And David
That's
was like,
amazing.
is she like texting you? Is she nervous? Maybe we could talk to her prior to I was like, no, she seems like she's ready to roll. So we just brought you right on.
it's all the Healy. It's all on the Coherence program. It's one of my favorite ones. And I've heard that Coherence is meant to like connect, your highest self and open yourself to getting message from the source with your mind and your throat for you to be able to have all this like coherence in your first three chakras. And that's exactly how I feel it. I'm not gonna say like if I'm not running coherence, I'm like blah, 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 speaking, I don't know, crazy, but it helps me to remain calm. I think without the Healy, I would be very nervous and would be just babbling and going from one topic to the other. But with coherence, it allows me to stay like focused and remember the things that I planned to say or that I said that I would say.
Trust me, there's nothing to be nervous about. We're all in the same boat right here. Like we don't know what we're doing either.
Exactly. We're just all figuring out as we go, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
We just wanted to have you on because like we want to get people that are using the Healy. Just we want to talk to them. How do you feel about it? What are you doing with it? Like, how's it going? And
Now, I have a
just
question for
create
you guys.
connections. Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry that I interrupted. Because you've been using it for longer than I have, and you've been here for way longer than I have, at Healy. Now that you mentioned people that are using it, I use it all the time, like literally until the battery runs out, then I'll plug it again and use, and I have a second one. So while the other one is out of battery, I'll use the second one. And
Right.
I've been using it on myself, on my partner. As I said, my mom and my brother have their own. We've been using it all the time. And I know it's recommended to go outside and walk barefoot on the grass, to have this exchange of energy with nature. But to be honest, sometimes I forget. I may do that twice a week, but not every single day. Whereas I do use my Healy every single day, all the time. Do you guys do that? And I don't know. Do you know anything about it? What if I'm not doing it?
Well, what I've been told about just grounding in general, so not using the Healy, walking barefoot, I think we can all agree, and a lot of people say that there are medical benefits to just walking barefoot, and that's because there's a magnetic energy that comes from the earth, and so it actually grounds us. It helps to clear our energy, connect us with source, connect us with Mother Nature, and that's just by virtue of touching the earth with our feet. So when you have that magnetic energy and you couple it with the electrical energy that's happening here, I think it just helps the Healy frequencies to deliver to your body better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I
But
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
but I don't really do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't
I
do it
do.
either. I think actually you
Yeah.
were saying it, and I was like, "That's a great idea." And you're like, "I only do it twice a week." I was like, "I don't even do that."
I do it because like this is generally like when I come outside, this is the backyard and there's yard and I garden and stuff, and like if I'm just doing light stuff like watering, I'll have the Healy on just because it's also my time to kind of just be with myself. But I'm not really thinking about touching the earth and just like sitting there, which I imagine
Is probably a
I'm,
good idea.
I know I want to like go and lay out,
Yeah.
fully lay in the grass.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do it because it's been like cold here. I'm in Rhode Island, so like New England, Northern
Oh,
America.
yeah.
So yeah, but it's just starting to get warmer now, but I'm going to start doing that. The other thing I was going to say was me and David were talking the other day about like just being, when you're wearing the Healy, to not just wear it to wherever, like to be aware of like the program you're running and be aware of yourself and your senses and all this other stuff. And it seems to kind of sync up a little bit better when you're doing that as opposed to just rocking it all day long.
Yeah.
But I will say, sorry, go ahead.
Yes. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I will say though, like we just got the coil, and that's where it's at for me at least, because then there's no strings attached anymore. I just got I don't have mine on me right now. I'm sorry, but but the coil is where it's at. You have one of those?
No, I don't have a coil. I'm all strapped. um, but yeah, I was
Dude,
gonna say,
it's gonna change your life. It'll change your life.
yeah, I do need it. Especially I use my Healy a lot for working out and in yoga, and you can't really stretch very far away when you're plugged into something. But
Right.
I still, yeah, I think I I'm going to get, I mean, it's so affordable anyways, and you get it free for almost every purchase you make, the coil. So I think I'm going to get it before the end of the month. So I'll have to get back to you and tell you how much I'm loving it. But yeah, I think it's the intention behind everything that actually works. And so when I plug into myself, I don't know, say I'm having a belly ache, so I plug into the gastrointestinal programs or like intestine, digestive programs. This just having the intention of being like, I'm going to heal already. It amplifies the energies and the frequencies that the Healy is giving to me by just having the intention set.
I agree.
Yeah, totally. Me and my wife had the essentially the same sickness. We must have got it from my daughter, who gets. I think she just like holds sicknesses. She never gets sick, but she gives them out. So then my wife got it, and she's had this whatever. It's like this like cough or whatever for like a month now. And I had it last Sunday, and I just probably got over it this past Sunday. It took me like a week, and I was completely over it because I was like running all these like programs every day, the immune system, the defense, all that stuff. And then obviously I was doing like vitamin C and all this other stuff, but I'm completely better. And my wife is still like coughing, you know, even though she has a Healy 2 now. So she just got hers. So she's starting to use it now.
Yeah,
One
the
thing
Healy
that
to your wife is like literally a week old. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, your connection is like a little bit off, I guess. I don't know, you're freezing up a little bit, but we could still hear you fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's why I'm running over your words, because I may be a little bit delayed or I'm listening to you delayed, but yeah. So the thing that I've noticed is having the scanner, I mean, the resonance and above editions is a game changer. So I was first on the holistic. And of course, I mean, if I felt like I was going to get the flu, I would run the immune system or the defense programs, you know, and the everything related to immune system and throat and all this like shiver. But then I found on me once I had the scanner, it gives me like as I said, you know, like the throat chakra, and it's like, oh yeah, there is something about my throat chakra because I'm getting a cough, or you know, I can't really speak, and it's related to the throat chakra. And having this scanner really takes to the next level of knowing which programs to run. It's great that we know that we, even if you don't have the scanner, you can kind of listen to your intuition or feel your body and be like, oh, I'm getting a headache, I'm going to run the head harmony program. But then you get to you have your scanner, and it turns out that you needed the nerve harmony program because it's something in the nervous system, not necessarily in your brain or in your head, you know. So the scanner for me has been a life changer. And as I slowly progressed to get the professional edition, which we just got like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I was missing out on all this. And now I still don't have the coil, and I still don't have the Mac Healy, and I'm like, oh, I need the Mac Healy.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
That's what we were talking about before, where it creates this like hyper awareness and sensitivity towards yourself, because you're starting to realize when you run the scan, you're starting to think differently outside of what you would normally think, or like why you're feeling the way you're feeling, right? Because it suggests these different programs, and you're like, oh, actually, I see how that connects to this and that, you know, and then you're just like, and then after you do that many times, then you're kind of like, you're aware of it, and then it's like you just naturally become this like hypersensitive person that just understands yourself better than you've ever done before, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest aha moments for me was running the aura scan, and then also doing the resonance scan. And if you're watching and you don't know what those are, the Healy programs, there's a Blue Resonance app. And in that app, you have the ability to cross-reference the Healy apps with your energy, but also it will just read your energy of each chakras in your body, and then basically give you a report about the percentage of where your chakras are at. So like it'll say your sacral root is at 86%, your crown chakra is at, 85, and then it runs, lets you know what percentage it is. When I started doing the aura scans, it was very confronting because it was more than, oh, you're just running a fitness app or uh, like a pain app or a gastrointestinal app. You're now like running a scan on your emotional energy, and it's telling you personal things of like, how you grew up, maybe things that are on your mind that you don't tell other people, those emotional things. And then you realize that your emotional energy is also just as important as your physical energy, your mental energy, and they're all different things. There's all different frequencies and different wavelengths for all of these different energies that our body has. And the moment that we connect that the emotional energy has an effect on our physical body, that to me was like a huge aha moment. It was like, if I start working on my emotional energy and some of the things that are going on in my mind or in my body, in my heart, that I don't talk about, if I release that or work on it, then the physical thing also comes, where you feel lighter, you feel better. It's like one of those things where something is weighing heavy on your mind or your heart. And if you don't process it, it can manifest, I believe, into a physical illness.
Absolutely.
And these are the things that Healy can do. And it really is mind blowing. It's one of those things where a light bulb clicks on, and then you're just like, yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about this more? Why doesn't, you think that you go to a doctor and they're going to do what Healy is doing, and it's really not. Like, you go to a psychologist to talk about things that are going on with your mind. You maybe talk to your family, if you have close family, to talk about things that are on your heart. You go to the gym to work on your body, but this Healy is kind of like doing all of that and working on all of that in different levels.
Yeah. And together, doing it like all together, it's insane how it complements. I have this story to share that very recently, coincidentally, I came to Mexico. We stayed from Christmas until now 6 months, because we had a wedding every single month for 6 months, and we were not
Oh,
going
wow.
to fly back and forward from Bali to Mexico, so we decided to stay 6 months. And coincidentally,
Amazing.
Healy just opened in Mexico this month, so I was
Yes,
like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm glad I'm here. And my mom is huge into MLM business, so I know she's going to explode. And I'm helping her build her community here. So she has a friend. She's one of the persons who opened Young Living Market in Mexico. So she's huge in MLM as well. And my mom wanted to enroll her, right? So she kept trying and trying. And for the first month, she was an absolute no. And she was like, no, I don't want to do it. But very recently, she came to our home, and I was like, why don't we run a scan on you? She was very skeptic, and she was like, nah, yeah, even though she does believe in the power of frequencies because she used essential oils, for some reason she just didn't trust Healy. So we ran the scanner, and first it was the aura. And it's insane. I had seen once in a video call how on a remote aura scan, the results showed up that the person had had a fight, but this is specific. It said something like, you're having trouble with your father. And I remember seeing the woman started crying in the video call, and she's like, how can this thing remotely know that I had a fight with my father last night? And I was mind blown. I was like, wow, okay, I believe in this. So it was the same thing. We ran the scanner on this woman, and it said her throat chakra was unbalanced, and it said, you're having communication troubles with your sister. So specific. And then
Oh, wow.
again, her eyes full of tears, and she showed us WhatsApp, and you could see a conversation where she was texting her for years, but no reply. It was marked as sin, but no reply. And she said, my sister won't talk to me, and she doesn't want me to talk to her. So yeah, I'm having communication issues with my sister. And right after that, we ran the resonance scanner, which is like your physical body and your health scanner. And of course, everything was related. It was like from the head up. Everything was, like you're having a sore throat. Everything was related to her not being able to connect what she feels and what she thinks to what she wants to say, and having communication issues. So all this like throat chakra and communication issues developed into psychosomatic problems, which was giving her thyroid.
Thyroid, yeah.
Thyroid,
Thyroid.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to pronounce it. Yeah, thyroid problems and sore throat and all these things. So of course, in just a matter of 5 minutes, she changed from an absolute no to, I mean, I need this, and I'm going to run a scan for every single person I know from Young Living, because everybody needs to have this at their home. And she
Mm.
went and bought the Mac Healy and the professional edition and the coil and the Healy watch. She bought everything because she just wants to share this with everyone. It's such a
Right.
powerful tool that we could all have home. And the way you mentioned, like how we go with doctors and psychologists, and we go to the gym or nutritionists, and they may be able to sense or to get a feeling of what you're feeling, and what you're experiencing, but then they will prescribe you some medicines. If it's a doctor, if it's a psychologist, they will like tell you how to go through life. They'll give you some advice. But Healy, right after scanning you, it will give you the frequencies that you need. And you can, after having your scan, you can just click on the bottom, vibrate, and just put them in through your body and be able to heal. And you can do this consultation every single day or as many times as you want in a day.
Mm.
So it's definitely, I know it's a high ticket investment, especially in Mexico. For example, when you transfer that dollars into pesos, it's a lot. So a lot of people is like, oh my God, that's so expensive. But it's like having your doctor and your psychologist and your nutritionist and your gym instructor at home
Right.
24/7. And not only for you, but for everyone around you and your family, your friends. You can even do remote scans. So it's such a beautiful and powerful tool to have.
Yeah. It's almost like it's like, you know how the people have talked about how the human race has like lost something, technologies and something, that we're unaware of ourselves and stuff from ancient past, right? It's like it's coming back now through Healy almost. Although we, even without the Healy, I believe through meditation, through yoga, through all these just natural homeopathic things, are able to get to this point without the Healy. If you got to really dive deep into all that stuff, but the Healy just makes it a lot easier, and it helps to almost it creates a bridge between spirituality and the physical world that we've been living in, right? So yes, I agree with everything you're saying. It's like everything all in one place. Um, I think what me and David talk about a lot is developing what's happening right now is we're developing a new language on how to communicate all this information to everybody right now, and that's part of why we started this podcast as well. Because it's actually pretty technical. Like when you
Yeah.
dive in, it can be overwhelming to some people, and we're trying to simplify it for everyone. And I
Yeah.
think you're doing a great job helping us right now too. These stories are exactly what we're talking about. We
Yeah.
want to share these stories with everyone.
Yeah, I think the stories are they're they're examples of how to say into words what it's doing, right? Because it's a testimonial of somebody, their experience with the device. Joe and I try and to sometimes get into philosophy and talk about energy and really try and break it apart more. And I think it's very hard to do, like you just said, Joe, and we just made a post about it's almost like we're recreating the language. Obviously this is the idea of chi and energy and auras have been around for thousands of years, but it's always, at least for my perspective, like Westerner perspective, how I grew up, it's not something that I talked about. Like my mom didn't say, oh, work on your chi, son, or like work on your energy. Like nobody said that. It's just something, it's like I felt like I have energy and I feel like I am energy. Um, and now this tool has almost given me a way to do that work on my energy. And we just made a post today on our Twitter. We just tweeted for the first time. Work on
Your first tweet.
I know, it was my first tweet. Work on your energy like you would your fitness.
Yes.
Because to me, that concept is like, okay, I'm always working on my body to stay healthy because I want to be around. I want to do the things that I love to do. And in order to do that, I need to be physically fit. And I want to keep doing that. So I also have to think, I have to work on my energy just the same, because the energy actually comes first and then all the physical things.
Hmm.
Like the energy manifests the physical.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're not healthy energetically, if you're not vibrating at a higher frequency of health, how can you have anything else? How can you have a financial stability or emotional stability or healthy relationships if your energy is not healed and clear? So that's the most important thing. I love how you said that we are kind of like putting it into easier words to understand. And I have this I love, I mean, I do go into explaining people how it works, but there's some people that they don't want to understand, or it's not they don't want to understand, they don't care. I, for example, don't fully understand how light works or how the Wi-Fi works, but I use it every single day, and I reap the benefits of having Wi-Fi and having electricity in my house, in my home. But I don't necessarily know how it works, and I don't care. I still benefit from it. So
Right,
it's the
right.
same with
That's
healing.
a good way
Like,
to put it to people, right?
yeah, yeah. It's of course we're gonna do our best to try and understand and to try and explain how it works. But for some things I'm like, and it doesn't look so professional. But sometimes people ask me like, but how does the remote scan work? And I'm like, I don't know, but it works, and I don't care to be honest. So it's sometimes it's just like I I trust it. I've seen it work, and that's enough for me. But then some other times, the other half of me, the analytic half, the masculine energy in me is like, no, you have to go and investigate, and you have to know all the little details of how it works.
That
But
is
that's why
100% us.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Like
have
for
to balance.
yes, exactly. I
If
think
you
for
if
the
you want to
first
dive, sorry, Dave.
I was just gonna say, for the first, when I first got it, obviously, like I met Peter on the plane, I saw the device, I loved it. Then he shared it with me. I purchased it. I had no idea that it was an MLM thing, and I also have a very negative connotation about MLMs in general. So I
MLN,
was
just describe that for everybody.
multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Like in America, a lot of people will call them pyramid schemes, that they're corrupt, and just a lot of negative connotation, and rightfully so. There's a lot of people that went and did some pretty bad things to people to sell whatever they were trying to sell. The device is what I was interested in. Frequencies is what I was interested in. And because I was able to wear it immediately and also feel the vibrations in my body immediately, that to me, I'm just like, yeah, I need the product. So the whole MLM thing came second. Like Peter's been teaching me like what the legs are and all of that stuff. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, because music and energy and frequencies have always been my passion in general. Um, but I don't know where I was going with that, other than to say, other than to say that I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Well,
We were
Danny,
just
Um,
if you want to dive in deeper and really try to like figure
Mhm.
some of this stuff out, you might want to look into numerology. We actually just had my numerologist on, Wes Hamilton, and he was kind of, we were talking about the connections between numbers and frequencies, and that's how the remote stuff works. It's because it's already like built in to the universe. So the Healy is actually tapping into So how numerology works, it just needs your birth date and your name, right?
Yes.
So Healy is just tapping into that same frequencies, and that's
Yes.
how it can send it everywhere. And we all have like a fingerprint like energy where it's only for
Yeah.
us specifically. You're aware of numerology then?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really cool interview because we got to really understand the connections. It's all the same though. It's all the same, you know.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So I'll
he
have to
says
go back.
numerology. He says like basically Healy is basically just taking what's already there and what numerology
Yes.
has been talking about for years. You know, it's just tapping in. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, going back again to intention, that was my conclusion. Like, okay, so the remote scan works with intention and with a vehicle, right? Someone is going to wear the frequencies for you or place the fingerprint for you and place the intention of doing it for you. So by placing the intention, I'm kind of like tapping into your magnetic field. So the Healy, instead of reading my magnetic field, is going to be reading yours. And then again, when people ask me about how the Healy works or how the scanner works, it's so simple to mention the example of the guitars, in resonance. So resonance is like if you have two guitars in the same room, and they're tuned exactly into the same notes. When you tap the chord in one guitar, and if they're exactly the same notes at the same frequency, the other guitar will also play, even if no one touched it. So then if you place your finger on the second guitar and you tap this one, but the other one is being, obstructed, it cannot play because that is obstruction, or that is something in the way. And that's what Healy does. It's trying to connect its frequencies to your frequencies. But then if there's something in between, it will tell you exactly that. Like, oh, you're having resistance here and there, and you're having misalignment here and there, so you need to do this and that, which is run the frequencies, right?
That's a
So
good point. That's like it's like that's a good simile where if you imagine like day-to-day life, like stresses and stuff that happen during the day, as being like a finger on the
yeah,
guitar muting your guitar almost, right? You
yeah,
just need to open up and allow the frequencies to come in so they can
absolutely.
vibrate on you. That's
And that's what the
interesting.
Healy does. It tells you, oh, there's a finger in this chord, and then this chord, and then this chord. So we're going to
Right.
run these frequencies to remove those fingers. That's
Right, it's
exactly.
like making you, that's the awareness of like being like, oh, like let's release this, let's release
Yeah,
that, and open up to all this other stuff.
yeah,
Interesting, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's a good example to have when people want to like really go into the details and be like, no, but how does it work? Then I just do that, and they'll come to this and understand and be like, oh, okay, so it's kind of telling me well where my energy is like obstructed.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one. So yeah, I'm so glad that you came on. Uh, we should definitely do this more often. You're welcome on whenever you want now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love that.
I think you're not nervous at all. You do very well.
It's the coherence program.
Have you done any other podcasts or anything like this before?
Not really. Only once, long time ago, I was invited to dive deep into human design. I'm a human design expert, and she wanted me to talk about it. But it was my first time ever, and you could like literally hear my voice trembling, almost as if I wanted to cry. I was like, oh, so
Oh,
that's you. You could listen this.
yeah.
And it didn't go well. I mean, the person who invited me was so happy, and she said it's one of her most listened podcasts. But I wasn't happy with it.
Oh, wow.
This is my second one, and I didn't have the Healy back then, and I do have it now. So that's the difference.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
We should definitely talk more. If you have any like new things that you're doing, or you found some new program or something that's doing something, let us know, and we'll have you on. We could chat about it.
Absolutely.
Where are you at in Mexico right now?
Right now, I'm in Guadalajara, which is a large, boring city. There's nothing here, like no beach or anything, because I'm well, not baby, cat sitting for my sister. I'm at her
Uh,
home. She's away at the beach, and I'm taking care of her cats and plants. But I'm living again. As I said, we're only here for some weddings.
Yeah.
And on April 30th, we have our last wedding, which is my brother-in-law, Oscar's brother. And then after that, on May 3rd, we're leaving
Back to Bali.
back again to traveling. Yeah, eventually back to Bali. We'll get back. We'll get to Bali in October. But as I said, we travel a lot. So first we're gonna go to Miami for a whole month or a bit more than a month.
Oh.
Then Maldives for a month. South
We just
Africa.
moved. Me and my wife lived in Miami for like 3-4 years.
Yeah, I saw on
So we
your
just moved.
Instagram, and I was going to tell you like, oh, I'll be in Miami next month. But
Nice,
now I
nice.
hear that you're in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Sorry. Enjoy it down there though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So we're excited to see your Instagram and stuff, and all the like new places you're gonna be.
Yeah, so excited to create Healy content there.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you for coming on, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks,
Sounds
Danny.
great. All right. Bye. Thank
See you
you.
later. Oh man, that was like super like refreshing. She's great.
Yeah, it's cool to just have another perspective and to hear somebody else that's using it and in their daily life, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny, almost everybody that I know that uses Healy is like traveling and somewhere else, you know, like Peter's
know,
in
this is what
Budapest, Taryn's
That's
in
why I wanted to get
Australia.
like, what are we doing wrong?
No,
Well,
I
you're
think
traveling a lot.
yeah, I think, you know, this is a device that is spreading energy around, and so maybe we have to be all separated and until we can all be together.
Yeah. Well, maybe I need to travel more. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you probably well, I mean, you're nesting. You just had a baby during a
Yeah.
pandemic.
Well, that's probably the difference, right? Like, is Peter married? Or yeah, see, like everybody is like single or like in a
Traveling.
relationship, no kids, right?
Yeah, no kids definitely helps. I
I'm
think to be able
representing
to
the
just
families of Healy.
yes, it definitely helps to be able to get up and go. You know, when you have a kid, it's a completely different experience, and they need routine and
Yeah.
you know, generally enroll them in school and all the things that you're dealing with as a parent, right?
Yeah, I always thought that there was another way, but kind of isn't. I mean, there is. We're working on it because, you know, Aaliyah and I are both very like anti-public school, and we're looking into like private school or homeschooling even, which might give us more flexibility.
Right.
Yeah.
To travel more.
Yeah, to do more things. We want to be able to take her places and experience culture, you know.
Well, should we say goodbye?
Yeah, that was a great episode. I'm glad she came on.
Yeah.
So, all right, buddy.
It's awesome that she's also going to be in Mexico, and it's just Healy's just released in Mexico. So
Yeah. Yep. So if you're in Mexico, hit up
Danny.
All right, buddy.
All right.
I will talk to you next time.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.